Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we, cut through all the noise, the articles, the research papers, the notes, and bring you the really important stuff, the insights. And today, we're tackling something I know a lot of you deal with. I certainly do. It's just the sheer time and sometimes the frustration that goes into making, say, a presentation look good, or getting a document formatted right, or even just a quick social media post that needs to pop. You know that feeling, staring at the blank page, or fighting with text boxes. It just eats up time, doesn't it? Okay, let's unpack this. There's a new tool aiming to change all that.
Exactly. And that's really where Gamma AI comes into the picture today. We're going to be exploring this, pretty innovative AI platform. It really promises to shake up how we create content.
Few things up how.
Well, our mission, really, is to get under the hood. Understand how Gamma AI actually works, what its main features are, and, where it fits. In professional life, maybe even personal projects, we want to show you how AI isn't just, a helper anymore. It's actually making high-quality visual communication accessible to, almost anyone.
Right, democratizing it.
Precisely. And our deep dive today, it's built on some great material. We've got tutorials, detailed study guides, some really solid analyses of Gamma AI, all showing off what it can do and what the implications might be.
Okay, so let's start big picture. What is Gamma AI, fundamentally?
So it's an AI-powered platform developed by a company called Gamma Tech, Inc., and its main job is to help you create presentations, documents, even simple web pages.
And the big sell is speed.
Yeah.
Getting professional-looking stuff done fast.
That's the core promise, yeah. Generating really polished content in, minutes instead of hours. For anyone who's ever, spent half a day tweaking slides, the idea of doing it in seconds is, it's pretty compelling.
It's almost like having a graphic designer and a copywriter on call, rolled into one AI.
That's a good way to put it. It takes on the heavy lifting. Think about maybe a marketing consultant, let's call her Sarah. She's always turning dense data into presentations for clients. Gamma aims to just smooth out that whole process for her.
So how does it do that? What's the tech behind it?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. It's not like PowerPoint or Google Slides where you're manually dragging things around. Gamma uses machine learning algorithms, sophisticated ones. You give it just a little bit of input, and the AI figures out the structure, suggests layouts, creates designs that look good. It really automates and enhances the whole creation process from zero to finished.
Automates and enhances. Okay, so for Sarah, less time fiddling with fonts, more time thinking about the actual message.
Exactly.
Now, here's where I think it gets really powerful, how you actually start creating something in Gamma. What are the options?
All right, there are a few ways in. The probably the most popular one, the one that feels a bit like magic, is starting with just a single line of text, a prompt.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, so you could type something like, create a pitch deck for the Kevin Cookie Company's new monthly cookie subscription box. Just that.
And from that one sentence.
From that, the AI generates a whole outline for the presentation, and then it actually drafts the content for each part. It's pretty impressive how much it can infer from such a simple instruction.
Wow. Okay, that's the cheat code version. What else?
Well, it's also really versatile. You're not limited to prompts. You can paste in text you already have, or upload files.
Files like what? Word doc.
Yeah, exactly. So Sarah has, say, meeting notes or an outline in Word, a PDF she wants to repurpose, even existing Google Slides or Docs, or content from a website, a blog post, a Notion page. Gamma can take that raw material and transform it into a polished presentation.
So it can essentially upgrade stuff you've already got.
Precisely. Enhance existing documents with, minimal extra effort.
And I heard there's a chat feature too.
Yes, the AI chat assistant. Think of it like a built-in chatbot right there while you're working. You can use it to refine things on the fly.
Refine how?
Like you can ask it to change the tone, make it more formal or more casual. You can tell it to adjust the wording of a sentence, add a new point, take something out, or even ask it to generate images directly within the chat. It's like having a Copilot constantly available to help you iterate and improve.
That sounds useful. Keeps you on the flow.
It does. And that actually brings us to something really unique about Gamma, its cards system.
Cards, not slides.
Exactly. It's a totally different approach from traditional fixed-page slides. Think of these cards as flexible content blocks. They automatically resize.
Auto-sizing, so they just stretch.
Yeah, they expand or shrink to fit whatever you put in them. Text, images, videos, even interactive things like polls or embeds. The idea is to break down complex information into smaller, more manageable, interactive chunks. It lets you kind of write like a document, but then present like a deck.
Write like a doc, present like a deck.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I get it. It blends the editing feel of a document with the visual presentation aspect.
Right. And the goal is really to help your audience understand and remember things better because the content can flow more naturally. It's not forced into these rigid slide boxes. The structure adapts to the content, not the other way around.
That sounds like a huge relief, honestly. No more wrestling with trying to fit too much onto one slide or having awkward breaks.
Yeah.
But with all this AI generation, how much control do you really keep? Does it end up looking, AI generated, or can you make it yours?
That's a really important point. And Gamma actually gives you a lot of control. So after it generates that first draft from your prompt, you're not stuck with it. Not at all.
Okay.
You can totally customize the outline, drag sections around, delete cards you don't like, add new ones wherever you want. You can also tell it how much text you want per card, like keep it brief, give me medium detail, or go really in depth.
And images.
Yeah, you define the image sources. And if you choose the AI image generation, which is pretty powerful, you can pick specific AI models. They have names like FluxFast or Ideogram Turbo and tell it the style you want. Specify a color palette, the mood.
So you can really guide the visuals.
Absolutely. It helps make sure the output actually matches what you had in mind.
What about branding? Keeping colors and fonts consistent, which can be a real pain sometimes.
Gamma handles that pretty well. There's a one-click restyling feature. You click it, and boom, new colors, new fonts, all applied consistently across the whole thing.
That's handy.
And even better, you can actually import themes directly from PowerPoint or Google Slides. So if you have existing brand templates, you can pull them in to keep everything perfectly on brand without, manually fixing everything.
Okay, that addresses a major workflow issue for a lot of people, I bet. What about refining the content with the AI? You mentioned the chat assistant, but can it help edit?
Yes, definitely. The AI-assisted refinement is quite slick. Remember our example of the Kevin Cookie Company. Let's say we have the pitch deck.
Right, the Somers explosion cookie pitch.
Exactly. You could just highlight some text or select a card and ask the AI, add a bullet point saying this is our most requested cookie by customers, and the AI will integrate that smoothly, keeping the formatting consistent.
Okay.
Or maybe you have a slide listing your target audiences. You could just ask the AI, add relevant images for these groups, and it'll generate visuals for each demographic right there.
That's pretty specific. Can it modify images too?
It can do some modifications, yeah. You could ask it to, say, add the text Kevin Cookie Company Club onto the image of the subscription boxes. Or maybe change the background of a product shot. Like instead of a plain white background, ask for a rustic wooden coffee table, maybe with a fireplace in the background, to give it a cozier vibe.
Wow, okay. So it's acting like a real design assistant, understanding context and style.
It really tries to be that co-pilot, yeah.
Yeah.
Responding intelligently to what you're trying to achieve visually.
But what if I just want to do something myself? Manually add a chart or embed a video? Do I have to ask the AI?
Nope, not at all. You still have full manual control when you want it. There's a simple / command menu. You just type a / and a menu pops up.
Ah, like in Notion or Slack.
Exactly like that. From there, you can manually insert all sorts of things. Images, different text formats, bullet points, numbered lists, charts, diagrams, and also third-party embeds. You can drop in things like Google Forms, YouTube videos, interactive Figma designs, Miro whiteboards, all directly onto your cards.
So it's a hybrid approach then. AI helps you get started and refine, but you can always jump in and do things manually.
That's the idea. AI efficiency, but with complete creative oversight when you need it.
Okay, so you've created this amazing interactive presentation. What happens next? How do you share it? Can you work on it with others? And can you tell if anyone's actually looking at it?
Great questions. Gamma's pretty strong on the sharing and collaboration side, too. For teams, especially on the paid plans, there's real-time co-editing.
Like Google Docs.
Pretty much. Multiple people can be in the document at the same time, making edits, leaving comments, giving feedback. Very useful for, Sarah and her marketing team working together on a pitch.
And sharing options. Can I get it out of Gamma?
Yep. Plenty of options. You can export it as a standard PDF or as a PowerPoint file, a PPTX, or even just image files like PNGs. You can also just generate a shareable web link. Send that to anyone that can view it online. Or you can embed the whole presentation directly into a web page or a blog post.
What about presenting remotely?
They have a neat feature for that called Share a Follow Link. If you send that link to your audience, their screen automatically follows yours as you navigate through the presentation. Keeps everyone on the same page, literally.
That is neat. Avoids the "can you go back a slide"
Mm-hmm.
issue.
Exactly. And there's a dedicated presentation mode, too. It has, like, nice little subtle animations between cards and a presenter view for you, the speaker.
Presenter view, so I can see my notes.
Yep. You see your notes, maybe a timer, controls to navigate, standard presenter view stuff, but integrated nicely.
Now, you mentioned tracking.analytics. That sounds interesting. How does that work?
This is actually one of my favorite features. It's so cool. Because Gamma presentations are often viewed online via those share links, it can track engagement.
Track what, exactly?
It can tell you who viewed the deck, assuming they log in or you send a specific link. It shows you how many pages or cards they looked at, and crucially, which cards they spent the most time on.
Whoa. That's more than just view counts.
Oh, yeah. It gives you actual data-driven insights into what parts of your message resonated, what people found interesting, maybe what they skipped over. It turns your presentation from just a static thing into something you can learn from.
That seems incredibly valuable for sales pitches or marketing materials. You can see what's actually landing.
For sure. It helps you refine your message based on real audience behavior, a huge advantage.
Okay, so connecting all these features.
Yeah.
Who really benefits from using something like Gamma AI? Where does it make the biggest impact?
Well, the applications are pretty broad. Think about business uses first. Pitch decks for investors, obviously. Sales presentations, marketing campaigns, creating visuals for social media, emails, promotional stuff.
Internal stuff, too.
Absolutely. Training materials like employee onboarding guides, internal reports, especially if you need to visualize data quickly. For someone like Sarah, that consultant, she could probably use it for almost all of those.
What about outside of the typical corporate world? Education, maybe?
Definitely a big one for education. Teachers creating interactive lesson plans, course materials that are more engaging than just text, students making presentations. It really helps educators who maybe don't have a strong design background create professional-looking resources.
Yeah, I could see that. Leveling the playing field a bit for design.
For sure. And then you have content creators, marketers, anyone who needs to produce visual content consistently. It streamlines creating branded materials, generating blog post visuals, social media graphics, makes it faster and easier. Also knowledge workers, consultants, anyone who needs to quickly produce reports, client proposals, internal briefings. The ease of adding charts and visuals is a big plus there.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, quickly, you mentioned Gamma AI. I feel like I've heard that name in a different context, too. Is there another Gamma AI?
Ah, yes. Good point to clarify. While we're talking about the content creation tool from Gamma Tech Inc., the term Gamma AI can also refer to something completely different. There's another company, or perhaps a product line, also called Gamma AI, that focuses on data loss prevention DLP. It uses AI for security, specifically for cloud applications like Google Workspace or Office 365.
DLP, so
Yeah.
like preventing sensitive data leaks.
Exactly. That Gamma AI is all about high accuracy detection of potential data breaches in enterprise cloud environments. So, same name, completely different function. One's for creation and one's for security. Just important not to confuse them.
Got it. Good distinction. So let's circle back and summarize the big advantages of the content creation Gamma AI. What are the key takeaways?
I'd say there are three main pillars. First, and maybe most obviously, is time efficiency. It just dramatically cuts down the time needed for content creation.
Hours to minutes, you said?
Or even seconds for that initial draft, yeah.
Yeah.
What normally would take ages fiddling with layouts and designs is done incredibly fast. This lets you focus your energy on the message, on refining the actual content, rather than getting bogged down in formatting.
Right. Less time fighting the software, more time thinking.
Precisely. Second big benefit. Accessibility, especially for non-designers. It really democratizes the ability to create professional-looking stuff.
No design degree required.
None at all. It helps people who wouldn't normally be able to produce polished, visually appealing materials. It gets you past that intimidating blank page by giving you a great starting point.
And third,
Enhanced engagement, because it makes it easier to incorporate visuals, interactive elements, and that part system encourages a more dynamic flow. The end result tends to be more engaging for the audience. It helps capture and hold attention better than, say, a static wall of text on a slide.
okay, time savings, accessibility, engagement, makes sense. What about the cost? Is this an expensive enterprise tool?
Actually, it's pretty accessible price-wise, too. There's a really quite generous free plan to get started. It gives you 400 AI credits.
And how far does that go?
Well, as an example, creating an initial 8-card presentation might use about 40 credits. So you can make quite a few things on the free plan to try it out.
And beyond the free plan?
There are paid tiers. The Plus plan is around $10 per user per month, and that gives you unlimited AI creation. The Pro plan is about $20 per user per month and adds more advanced features, like removing Gamma branding, more analytics, priority support. But even the paid plans, considering the time savings and potentially reducing the need for external designers, can be very cost-effective for individuals and teams.
Are there any downsides, limitations we should know about?
Yeah, a couple of minor things. Exporting to traditional formats like PowerPoint or PDF sometimes doesn't perfectly capture the fluid layouts or maybe some of the gradient effects you get within Gamma itself. It's usually pretty good, but not always pixel perfect. And the other thing is there's currently no offline mode. You need an internet connection to use it, which might be a factor depending on your workflow.
Okay, good to know. Minor limitations, but worth considering.
Right.
So wrapping this all up, it sounds like Gamma AI isn't just, another tool in the toolbox. It feels more like a shift in how we can approach creating visual stuff.
I think that's right. It leverages AI not just for speed, but to make high-quality, engaging content creation genuinely accessible to pretty much everyone, no matter their design skills. It kind of fast-forwards you past the tedious parts, right, to a usable, often beautiful first draft.
Letting you focus on the substance.
Exactly, saving huge amounts of time and effort in the process.
Okay. So as we finish up, maybe a final thought for our listeners to chew on.
Yeah, maybe this development, these kinds of tools, they raise a pretty important question, I think. In a world that's increasingly visual, where communication relies so much on how things look, how might AI tools like Gamma continue to reshape things? Not just how we create presentations or documents in our professional lives or maybe in education, but also fundamentally how we consume and interact with information itself. Think about it. What happens when AI starts democratizing more and more complex tasks? Tasks that used to require years of specialized training. What does that mean for the skills we'll need in the future? It's definitely something worth pondering.